Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! Once upon a time, I worked in a research hospital coordinating drug studies. This was gonna go against the grain of some of the stories here. When you work in healthcare, following the written laws and rules to the letter is of the utmost importance. We run into trouble when people begin inventing their own rules and playing by them. The hardest part of my job was convincing other departments to also do their jobs, and sometimes it was like pulling teeth asking people to perform their duties at even a basic level. Ask a nurse to draw a basic 4-tube blood kit, you got an eye roll. Ask the pharmacy to stay 5 minutes past the end of the workday. Nope, they couldn't do that. They were out at 4:30. That second scenario is the important one for the purposes of this story. That department refuses to stay late. I could understand why they would feel that way and strive to maintain as steady a schedule as possible. But in the world of sick and dying people, sometimes things come up. Mind you, I regularly had to stay an hour or two past the end of my shift to take care of my problems and data entry. We could get overtime pay or flex our schedules pretty easily, at least in my department. This hospital was in a very snowy metropolitan area. At one time years ago, we were projected to get a massive blizzard. Every one of us, the nurses, the physicians, the pharmacists, and the coordinators, were essential employees, or whatever they called it before COVID popularized the term. It had to come in regardless of the weather, so every one of us should have been planning to be there the next day, even if the weather was awful. We had to call in sick if we missed work for weather reasons. The afternoon before the storm was due to begin, we had a patient in clinic. Typically, patients on this particular research study got a doctor's appointment and then treatment immediately after. However, this individual had a job that made him prefer getting his clinic visit done in the afternoon and his treatment early in the morning. It was unusual, but it wasn't hard to accommodate him. While most of us had accepted our fate of driving in the snow the next morning, the investigational drug department was especially not too excited about the prospect of having to come in during the blizzard. So at 3:30, an hour before the pharmacy closes, they send me a Slack message and ask us what the possibility of doing this patient's treatment today might be, so they don't have to come in for it tomorrow. Really? Come on, you're asking us now? This was on your docket all day. I begrudgingly went to find the patient in the waiting room and ask. Wasn't thrilled, but says he will do it if he has to. I will let the pharmacy know. Then they asked me what the status of the patient was. Clinic was running behind as usual, and we hadn't cleared the patient for treatment yet. The investigational pharmacy needed at least 20 minutes to prep the drugs needed. So they told us we had till 4 p.m. to get them the signed order. And the process for getting a drug order filled involved getting a signed order from a doctor after a patient has been cleared to get a drug, walking it outside across the street to the pharmacy, handing the signed prescription to a pharmacist, waiting for the drug, and walking it back to the patient in the first building. This was absolutely not going to happen in like 12 minutes. At 4:01, pharmacy sent me a very rude Slack message indicating that I'd basically missed my window to get the patient in today, and I should do a better job next time. As a coordinator, you got blamed for absolutely everything, even if it was the fault of a doctor who was bad at time management. Their message said something along the lines of, "If you don't come up and give a pharmacist the order by 4:05, there is nothing we can do for your patient. In the future, you should get the order signed and handed over to us ahead of time so we can prep it." Ahead of time, okay, I see. This case meant that a patient would be prescribed a drug but wasn't yet cleared by a doctor to receive that drug. In my training, the pharmacy director told us we were never ever supposed to do this. It was a humongous no-no and would be grounds for a massive lawsuit if anything went wrong. You absolutely don't prep a drug unless the patient receiving is cleared for treatment by a physician. I really like the pharmacy director, and I messaged her regularly with questions about drugs patients might be considering while on study. But she wasn't super involved in the day-to-day of the pharmacy workers and tended to focus on bigger picture tasks. Hence why her employees were inventing their own rules and demands. So I'm supposed to get this patient in today. Right now, eh? Alright, if you insist. So I got the order signed by the physician ahead of seeing that patient. They didn't really give a crap. Next step, in the words of the person who messaged me, was to take it to a pharmacist, eh? You said I had to take it to a pharmacist by 4:05, right? What if instead of walking it directly to the pharmacy, I took it directly to the pharmacy director? She was still a pharmacist and could do everything the folks in the investigational drug dispensary could do. I told her that we hadn't cleared that patient, but I have been urged by the pharmacy to dispense a drug anyhow, and that the patient wouldn't have to come in tomorrow for their treatment. She looked puzzled and asked if the patient rescheduled while in clinic. I told her no. This was at the request of the pharmacy staff so they wouldn't have to come in during a snowstorm. I showed her the message her employee had sent me. Pharmacy director was unhappy with this, and she said someone would just have to stay late if this was a plan. I referred her to the Slack message that said I had missed my window because they didn't plan to stay late. Director was livid and told me that she personally was going to stay late to make sure this went through. We went to the pharmacy from her office and she intended to scold this employee. But of course everyone was gone. So the two of us went and got the drug at 4:35 and I got it back to the patient. I got a call from him a week later indicating that he actually preferred getting Thursday afternoon treatment instead of having it on Friday morning. He wanted to keep that schedule going forward. I relayed this to the head of the pharmacy and I expressed uncertainty with how we'd handle this, and she said she'd get back with me. We all got an email a few days later saying that the investigational drug department would now be staying open until 5:30. And one person would be staying late every day, rotating every single day, so that someone could cover late drug orders. But I knew she only had 3 pharmacists, and they were all salaried, not hourly, which meant some of them would be covering more than 1 late hour a week. I went to get this patient's next dose of drug a few weeks later about 4:45. The same woman who'd asked me to break the rules was working. I asked her how she was doing and she told me she was having to work 3 4:30 to 5:30s a week. Presumably because she tried to act unethically a few weeks prior. She handed me the pill bottle and slammed the window in my face. And to think if the pharmacist would have just shut up and done their jobs like they were supposed to and come in during one snowstorm, they would still be able to leave at 4:30 every day. Anyways, if you work in healthcare or health research, do not make your own rules, kids. This is my manager's story. We will call him Bruce. He has been managing both my and another location's Mindy's. With last night being his official last night before coming here permanently, Bruce is a funking boss. Puns be fun. So this is awesome, but evidently he just had to go out with a bang. He was regaling me with a take about the cops being cold, so I had to ask. Bruce was trained as a manager at the other Rigger Road location, covering at our Mindy's fast food guru frequently, always letting us know just how horrible working at Rigger Road is, always because we're dying to know. Bruce was sitting around cleaning things he'd cleaned previously, waiting for any of the 4 scheduled employees to show up, and no one did. General manager gives him the go-ahead to 86 the store, shut her down. As he's wrapping things up, dishes, mopping, fryer filter, exchanging clean and so on, a lady pipes in through the drive-thru demanding to speak with a manager about fully replacing her meal because we're idiots and no other specified reason. Bruce goes, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, Mindy's is closed right now. You'll have to come back tomorrow." "Screw that. Your order, my order, or I will." Unintelligible, but she said order like 8 more times. Radio silence. "Hello?" Bruce continued his calm. "Ma'am, we're closed right now. I'm sorry. I'm the only one here." Now the drive-thru lady was super peeved, saying,
"If you ain't dealing with this, the police will. They will deal with this."
At the sound of this, Bruce stopped listening to all else, took his headset off, and continued closing down. 5 or 10 minutes later, the police call the Mindy store number, which Bruce picks up. He decides right then and there that yes, the police will deal with this. Police over the phone. This is the X-Town police. There is a report of an issue in the store. Bruce began explaining the real situation. A belligerent customer who, by the way, is still in the drive-thru. The police said they will handle it, asked if he needed to be contacted by PD upon arrival. All the usual. Good old Bruce was content to just watch 3 patrol cars swarm this lady and her friend, watching one cuffed and the other needing a ride home. He grabbed his banana board and literally rode off into the sunset. I only live 5 minutes walk away from a local pizza place, so I went in and ordered direct to takeaway. I didn't call ahead as I didn't see much point as I lived so close and I didn't mind the extra couple of minutes. While there, I saw they were doing a special offer, 10% discount if you mentioned their promotion over the phone, and then went in to collect takeaway. I know I haven't called in first, but now I know you do a discount if you do. And to save us both the hassle of me calling you right now, and for the fact that I know the promotion exists, can I still get the 10% off anyway?
No, it's for telephone orders only.
Sure, I get that, but I could literally just call you right now from my mobile, and you give me the discount, but that'll be a bit weird to make me do that. So can I just get it anyway?
No, it's for telephone orders only.
This job's worst attitude pissed me off, so I was literally about to just forget about buying anything from there and go somewhere else. But as I got outside, I figured that no, I'll just stand outside and call the number on their door and order a pizza that way to get my discount. The phone rang and the same guy picked it up. Can I order a pizza to collect with 10% discount, please? He recognizes my voice obviously, as it just been like 15 seconds since we were speaking inside. He looks outside at me, I smile and wave at him. He looks pissed off that he has given me my discount now. He takes my order and says it will be 10 minutes. During those 10 minutes while waiting for my discounted pizza, someone else is about to come into the restaurant to order a takeout. I ask him if they have phoned ahead for the discount or not, and they did not realize that was a thing. No problem, buddy. I'll do it for you. What do you want? I call the same number again. The same guy answers and hears my voice again and looks straight at me again. I smile and wave and proceed to order this random stranger's pizza order for them whilst maintaining eye contact with him. My friend would also like the 10% telephone discount. He looks like he's gonna pop a blood vessel, but has no choice but to accept it. After all, I didn't enforce the rules. He did. A week later, the telephone order discount is cancelled completely, and it's simply given if you have a menu. And there are menus in the entrance anyways, so you'd be crazy not to see it and use it. This happened about 4 years ago and I still laugh about it to this day. My older cousin had a cat named Tara when she was younger. Tara was a total loose screw and she would bite and scratch anyone who so much as looked at her funny. And don't get me started when you dare disturb her sleeping. Never mess with Tara when she's sleeping, that's a rule. Tara only felt comfortable around my cousin and I. She liked me because I usually helped my cousin feed her, because I wanted to know what it was like taking care of a cat as I want my own. Plus I was already close with my cousin. Now here is where it gets good. My aunt and uncle were having a little family gathering and they decided to invite some of their close friends. Among them were their demonic kids Mini Bigfoot, 6, and Mini Yeti, 5. Those two couldn't sit still or shut up for at least 1 second, and the parent just let it all happen.
They don't know any better.
They probably would if you set a boundary or something at least. So while they are downstairs terrorizing the adults and anyone else who was brave and patient enough to be in the same room as them, me, my cousin, and her friend all just chill upstairs. They both are talking about some stuff with school and all that nonsense that I didn't bother listening to. They both leave the room to go run a few errands and buy some more cat toys as Tara had demolished the previous ones, so now I'm left in the room alone with a little furball that's curled up on the bed having a damn good nap. Then I heard the sounds of rabbit footsteps and I didn't need to peek out to see what it was. Both gremlins walk in the room and immediately point out all the drawings on the wall of Nintendo characters. My cousin loves Nintendo. Then little mini Bigfoot has to point out that there is a fluffy kitty on the bed. They reach over to pet her and I inch their hands away and tell them to not disturb her. For some background, I already had a bad beef with the two because when they were at our house, Mini Yeti pulled my dog's ears and tail constantly and just wouldn't stop. Mini Yeti starts to whine about how much she loves cats and that she wants to cuddle the itty bitty kitty. I told her that Tara hates when her sleep is disturbed, and they still wouldn't go away. They went downstairs to tell their parents and they told me,
Let them pet the cat. It's not even yours, and it's just a cat.
I tried reasoning with them and even my aunt and uncle sided with me, but they still wouldn't understand as they swore it was just a regular house cat. I walked back up the stairs and suddenly I got a huge grin on my face. I told the kids that they can go play with the cat and they started laughing at me and taunting me, but soon the tables would turn. They went inside the room and I camped outside the door. For about 5 seconds I could just hear the "wow" from one of the kids. Then it finally came. An ear-piercing hiss and loud meow, followed by a distant sound of clothes stretching and gremlins screaming. They both sprinted out of the room crying and the mini Bigfoot had a big scratch going down his right arm. Little Yeti had it worse as her nice pink t-shirt was absolutely ripped and there were more scars going down her arm. Their parents were furious at me and commanded me downstairs to scold me. They asked how could I let the cat scratch their children like that and not do anything about it. I was gonna say something but then my dad's face went white as he pointed at the stairs. We looked and guessed what he saw. At the top of the stairs, Tara was right there with her tail hunched back and her ears folded flat against her head. To add to that, the lights upstairs were off, so her eyes were glowing. The dad of the two kids thought it would be a good idea to punish a cat that wasn't his, so he marched up the stairs while staring down Tara. Bad move. Because then Tara leapt off the stairs and landed right on the dude's back and cut a huge gash in his shirt in the process. She then climbed off, then just went back up the stairs and slipped again like she didn't just almost murder a whole family. When my cousin got back, we told her about the story and she was mad at first. Then she started to laugh when we mentioned that her cat wasn't injured. Tara got a nice plate of tuna for dinner and a good back rub as a reward. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.